Hello, this is George Lee's going to make a case call to the police in Berwick. I've just talked to one of their staff members who was driving by. He's told me that the office is closed today, but I'm going to now report the Bank of International Settlement scams and the fact that my doctors were prepared to section me to cover up the Bank of International Settlement scams. Yet that is Dr. Basel Switzer, because the Bank of International Settlements is in Switzerland, in Basel. Yeah, and it's the biggest steal in world history, and because it's in Basel, it is the launch of Basel Brush, and everything that I've reported on it and placed on the front of my website and my Facebook pages, all of it has been totally ignored, other than the attempt to launch a new friend into my life, and she's from Finland. Yeah, that's Dr. Ian Fingland, the school governor who trained as a policeman first. So let's just see, and I'm now tendered, I have no address. This is my address in Berwick. I'm living in the White Swan Hotel, yeah, for as long as I possibly can, and they're going on vacation this weekend, so I'm going to have to move, and that will allow me to report the same crimes to Police Scotland. I have no postal address. I have been tendered, stripped of my political representation since I wrote to the Queen of England telling her about all of the massive economic scams and everything that Dr. Ian Fingland, who's a member of the Scott Douglas Buccleuch lineage that sold Scotland, yeah, into the United Kingdom, and then they fucked up on the Darien scheme. Better not swear to the police people. Okay, it's absolutely massive, and that is the Bannatyne Society, run by the Ballantynes in Kelso, who now own the Crosskeys Hotel, which is the joke about the Crosskeys being the icon for the Vatican for 2,000 murderous genocidal years for false Christianity. All of that was in the letter to the Queen. That was the third letter I wrote to her, and the first two were replied to. All of them were recorded delivery. The third one got me a sectioning death threat, yeah, rather than confirmation that the letter had been delivered. Right then, and they've changed since I reported the fact that Autoroute 111 at 999 was the road to Hitler's Nest. You're no longer able to use 999 to get the police. It's now 111 or 101. I'm not sure what he said in the van. I think it was 101. So let's try that. And let's get some light in here. Yeah, there's all of my stuff ready to be bailed out. I have no home. None of the politicians will meet me since 2009, and that is John Lamont. He's been my representative in Holyrood. He's now my representative in the Parliament. He interlocks with the Dukes of Buccleuch, yeah, and Queensberry on the internet, and they are third cousin on the business registers. And they are massive, and all of their corporate directorates have had to be closed since I made the John Lamont videos on that. He's actually Julian Callum Lamont, because they're ever so sleazy in actually stealing from their electorate. John Lamont, interlocks with David Murray of Rangers, Lord Michael Grade, and their boardrooms are absolutely massive. Right then. So, and this is right on the bloody border. Yeah, which is why the man warned me that if I go to Scotland to report something, it will be Police Scotland. That is Police Scotland that are now run by a Lawrence, same week as we've had the massacres at Hillsborough replayed on the TV, and that is the replacement of Rupert Murdoch's Gormley, because Gormley, head of Police Scotland, is just a cover for Lizzie Murdoch's boards, and that is Joseph Gormley and the launch of a new regime. 300 plus directorates, and that is why he's no longer head of Police Scotland, and why he's kinda unhinged, at least in Rupert Murdoch's news. All of them are picked by the imperatos that run the globe. Okay? And everybody in the police up to this point have said, oh, that's far too high up the chain for us to intervene in. Yeah, so I'm going to have to go to the borders, find out who the boss is in the Scottish jurisdiction, locally, and then find out online who the boss is in the Berwickshire jurisdiction. Yeah, so my life is really exciting. I have no income. They want me homeless. They want me on the streets, and then they want me in the cemetery. Right then, 101. Hello? So I'm being connected to Northumbria Police. So I'm pressing reporting crime, option 1, Northumbria Police. Hello, my name's Professor George Lees, and I've been a Scotsman for years and years and years, but recently for my political activity I've been exiled from my hometown, and I'm now living in Berwick, hopefully just temporarily, but I have massive crimes that have led to my sectioning under the Mental Health Act. Yeah, I need to report them really quickly, because the doctor that did that trained as a policeman first. He's Dr. Ian Fingland, and he came with Dr. Basil Switzer to my home in Scotland, which is no longer mine, because my wife is in the Chipping Norton set for David Cameron. So it's quite complicated, but can I tell you what Dr. Basil Switzer and Dr. Ian Fingland, who's a member of the Buccleuch and Queensberry clan, that he was a policeman before he became the local doctor in Kelso. Yeah? But what they've done is they've tried to section me under the Mental Health Act, and the man that did that was called Basil Switzer, because the crime I'm reporting today is that the elite people in Britain that run the Chipping Norton set, that's Prince Charles, are actually the owners of the Bank of International Settlements, with 30 of the world's biggest bankers. It's called it's in the town of Basel in Switzerland, where I used to work as a pharmaceutical professor. Yeah, and it is the biggest bank in the world. So all of the people that go there 10 times a year. They get massive salaries, and they are the money lenders for all of the federal banks that now are in private hands. Can you see why they wanted me assassinated? Thank you ever so much. Because on the front, my name is George Lees, and if you look on my the front page of my web page, it's Prof. George Lees Revelations, all one word in lowercase. and if you look at the index, you'll see the letters that I wrote to the Queen and everything that is the ruination of Britain's economy. And now the only thing they can talk about is Brexit. But I need you to know that that was an attempt to murder me, to cover up the Bank of International Settlements in Switzerland, which is why the second Doctor was called Basil Switzer. You get it? And all of I'm in the White Swan Hotel in, I think it's Berwick High Street, right opposite Berwick Community Trust. Yeah, I think so. It's Berwick Community Trust, the William Elder Building, and I think the name is the White Swan Hotel. Pretty certain of that. And how do you get in touch with me if we want to take it further forward? Yes. Oh God. I very seldom have them switched on for economical reasons, because I've had no job for 7 years now, and I'm a professor, and they know that I've got the wits to take them on, which is why they were not able to medicate me after they had actually proceeded with the sectioning. And my wife was raised in Chipping Norton, and that is David Cameron's syndicate, and almost all of them in English and Scottish politics have been forced into resignation because of the letters I wrote to the Queen. Uh, Sorry, what was the question? Can I give you an email address instead? So it's Prof George Lees. Yeah, and I forget what it is, at google.com. Yeah, I'm 28557. And there's my mobile phone number. If you could leave a message that you've actually got something to declare. I very seldom have the phone switched on and use it live like that. But my number is 075 38 58 7343. Yeah. And the irony there is that it's a T-Mobile phone, and that is the Chipping Norton set. Thanks for your tolerance. And do you understand the gravity of what I'm telling you? That's the biggest bank in world history, and that is how the BBC have copyrighted every one of my videos, which is why they put Basil Brush as a glove puppet into the news at the end of every news bulletin until I reported it on my website, and then Basil Brush has disappeared. You get it? It's quite stressful as a professor in neuroscience to think that the next step for police England or Scotland may be a lobotomy, but with your help I can sleep at night. Thanks ever so much. And what is your name? What's eh? Are you a claimant to the throne? Martin Sorrell at the Olympics. He's the Windsor bloodline that came across with the Norman armies. You, I'd love to take you out for a dinner. Have you heard of Martin Sorrell? Oh, he was massive part of the Royal Olympics scams, and even that with the opening of the Olympics was a joke at the Anzac War Dead. Mr. Bean was the war correspondent for Gallipoli. That's why Rowan Atkinson was taking a piss at the dead. It's absolutely abysmal. But thanks ever so much, Miss Sorrell. Bye bye. Signing off. Here it is. ready for my next safe house. And I'm going to have to leave a couple of bottles of beer behind. I don't think you're allowed to drink in Anne Glog's bus empire. Right then. Yeah. Keep the sense of humour, and I will bring them down.